So on Tuesday, the political commentators on Fox News is outnumbered. Discussed Senator Elizabeth Warren CNN town hall. Katie Pavlich weighed in on her thoughts about the discussion of slavery and reparations.
They keep blaming America for the sin of slavery, but the truth is, throughout human history, slavery has existed, and America came along as the first country to end it within 150 years. And we get no credit for that to move forward and try and make good on that.
We did have a very bloody civil war
over that
and
issue.
We also and the remnants
are a long time.
The racial history, the remnants of the Civil War.
Right.
Particularly blacks in the South.
Correct.
Yes.
That was not an easy path. I mean, that was bloody and violent and deadly.
And there were Native Americans here when we showed up.
Yeah, we're still. My point is that we were the country that decided to end it, and we're still dealing with the issue. But if you want to start a problem and to inflame racial tension even more, start blaming people who have nothing to do with slavery for the sin of slavery. That is not fair. That's not the American way, and we shouldn't be doing it.
Don't blame me for slavery. I didn't do anything. Yeah, because, you know, I make it a habit of, you know, walking around every day in my neighborhood. And, you know, I did this when I went to work. I made sure to hold every white person accountable for slavery. And I made it a point of doing that. I made them apologize for it. I blamed them. And I said, hey, you owe me something. That's exactly what I did. Every day, all day.
To describe this as dumb is just being a little bit too nice. I mean, there's several points that we want to hit, but that one point about blaming her, like her feeling blame personally about slavery or any white person that is around today, about being blamed for slavery. Again, this was in response to Senator Warren's CNN town hall and the discussion about race and reparations and slavery. Nobody, I don't think black people are going around blaming just individual white people and being like, you know what? You are responsible for slavery. You owe me something.
Matter of fact,
when we talk about reparations,
pull your wallet out, dog.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. When we talk about reparations, we're talking about money coming from the government that is going to do something, that is going to seek redress of what happened years earlier, okay?
So it's not about her.
It's not about her. Now, you know what would be radical? You know what would be radical? Is if black people were demanding white people to all pool their money together. All you white people are responsible for slavery. So all you pool your money together and you're going to have to give some money to black people. Now that would be radical.
Now, if we're just talking about like collective progress and collective change that all countries make, not just the United States. Like your children, if our viewers have kids, aren't they going to deal with the problems that occurred in the previous generations and have to solve problems that occurred in the previous generations? No matter what that is. This is not even about whether you agree with reparations. I'm just talking about how we approach these issues.
Right.
And there's not an issue that we approach that doesn't involve trying to rectify something that was done before us.
True.
Does not mean we're accepting blame for it. It just means that, hey, they went the wrong direction,
and we have to deal with it.
We have to deal with it. We have to, make certain decisions to go in the right direction. It's just that simple. Like, that's how we attack most topics and most issues.
We talk about the debt all the time. I mean, conservatives, liberals, they always talk about the debt. $22 trillion in debt, and who's gonna have to be responsible for it? Who's gonna be paying that? They always talk about our future generations. Our kids are going to have to be burdened with this debt. So they weren't responsible for it, right? No, not at all. One thing that really piqued my ears, or my attention though, she said, well, first of all, she said the United States deserves some credit for ending slavery. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right. Anyway, but she said the United States deserves credit for ending slavery within 150 years. 150 years. Wow, that's some really poor math. 100. Okay, so I would assume that you would say slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation, 1865. I would assume
that's not even taken into account after slavery.
That's not even addressing the red line.
Because again, reparations is not actually just about slavery, but let's just say it is.
Yeah, the hangings and all.
Let's just say it is not Jim Crow.
No,
not
forget
apartheid.
that.
Essentially apartheid and segregation.
Yeah, you want to hit it at the end of the Civil War, 1865? Cool.
Because that's what they mentioned.
That's what they mentioned. So if you go back 150 years, that would bring you back to about like 1710, 1710, something like that. And from what I understand, there's different points in history where people claim that slavery officially started. Now, I believe there are many historians that settle on the idea that in 1619, the first slaves arrived. The first African slaves arrived in the United States of America. It wasn't the United States of America then at that point, but still. 1619. So if you go by that date, of course, that is much longer than that's much longer than 150 years. You're missing like 100 years. Now, you could even point to like different court cases. The court cases of John Punch and John Kaser. John Punch, he was a runaway slave, and as his punishment, because he got caught, his punishment was a lifetime of slavery. That was in 1640. In 1654, John Kaser, he was deemed a slave in a civil case. He was the first one that was deemed a slave in a civil case. So even if you picked the latest that latest occurrence, 1654, you're still short some 50 years or so?
Not only is she short, she's giving America credit for being first for something America was not first. Because the tyrants overseas, the ones that, your forefathers broke away from in a fit of freedom rage.
That's right. Sought their revolution.
Revolution.
Yeah.
Those guys over there, they outlawed slavery before we did.
There was no part of this from Katie Pavlich that was intelligent. To think that the United States of America deserves credit for ending the practice of shackling people because of the color of their skin, selling people because of the color of their skin, murdering people, selling families, like separating families because of the color of their skin. The mere notion that we should receive credit for ending that practice is buffoonery.
As if it was done out of the goodness of their hearts.
Oh no, they were pushed to that.
They were pushed to that.
They were pushed to it. But at least Kennedy, she pushed back on it just a little bit.
Oh, she did.
She did. It's like, hold on. It was really ugly. It was a really violent period right after slavery too.
We can't
minimize that.
We can't go without giving her credit.
No doubt.
Although it's whack Fox News, we can't go without giving her credit.
But at least she knew.
For pushing back. She was like, wait a second, what are you saying, dummy? She didn't say that, but you could tell the look on her face. She was like, you need to hold off.
150, I would love for you to, the 150 years, I would love to see that calculation though. Like how you got that. Because I looked all over the internet. I was like, honey, who, where, and how?